Welcome back to the channel. This is what football success does to a nation. Mass joy and celebration is generally displayed in abundance by the winning population of any major football tournament. Association football is quite simply the biggest sport on the planet. 5 billion people follow association football according to FIFA's latest figures. The passion for the game arguably reaches the equivalent of religious significance for many. Literally millions of ordinary individuals, many who may not even regularly watch their local club play, will take to the streets in mass hysteria in response to their club or nation achieving an important result, which may only be a one-off win during a tournament, not even the actual trophy of the tournament itself. Nothing else can match what football success does to the people on a mass global level. Association football hasn't always enjoyed a mass following. Up till the early 1880s, the game generally had limited attendances for major cup finals, and significant success at a national level was very much perceived to be the property of the upper-class ex-public school clubs who represented a very small section of society. So how did this once relatively minor sport, played and followed by relatively much fewer individuals, become an activity now celebrated and followed by literally billions? Where was the spark, the inspiration, the birth point in history for the game to start becoming something whole populations of towns, cities and even countries feel they must follow and partake in? Well, that spark was started by a man born in 1851 here in Crooks, Sheffield. That man was Jack Hunter, exceptional footballer, the first working class captain of England and coach of the team that won what is arguably the most important game played in football history. The game that changed football forever by starting its mass appeal across a whole town and region. That game was the 1883 FA Cup final, played at the Kennington Oval on the 31st of March 1883 between southern high-class public school originated Old Etonians and working-class northern Blackburn Olympic. Football was never the same. Hunter began playing football in Sheffield. After living in various locations across the city, Hunter eventually settled in Heeley. While developing his expertise within the game, he lived here at what was 55 Well Road. From at least 1872, he played for the nearby club, Heeley Christchurch. In the early 1880s, Hunter was destined to captain Heeley to Sheffield Challenge Cup success, a feat almost equal to winning the FA Cup given the quality of the opposition at the time. Under Hunter's stewardship, Heeley outplayed Pye Bank by 5-0, using a tactic of passing out to the wings and then making pinpoint crosses into the danger area in front of goal. He was to use similar tactics later with his Blackburn Olympic success. Hunter was a brilliant footballer who, alongside his experience of successfully playing Sheffield's widely spaced out formation passing game, meant that his services were in high demand, such high demand that he played for at least 19 different clubs during his Sheffield-based career, sometimes playing 4 times a week, each time for a different club. He also played multiple times for the Sheffield representative side and was a regular England international. In February 1881, for a match played against Wales at Alexandra Meadows in Blackburn, Hunter was appointed captain of the England team. This made him the first ever working class captain of England. Hunter was a Sheffield knife maker by profession. Travelling around Sheffield and even to other cities and countries costs money. Football was still an amateur game in the late 1870s and early 1880s, so to fund his football, he was known, along with others, for taking expenses. Without going into too much detail here, a fallout with local FA Secretary Pierce Dix resulted in Hunter leaving Sheffield to, in return for landlordship of a pub, take up the player coaching role at Blackburn Olympic. This happened during the closed season of 1882. Hunter's pub, the Mason's Arms, was located where Blackburn Library now sits, on the corner of Town Hall Street and Northgate in the centre of Blackburn. Hunter wasted no time in creating an infrastructure that would facilitate a football revolution at Olympic's hole-in-the-wall ground. He established tournaments for reserves and junior teams and incentivised winning by providing medals and watches for prizes for the winning teams. He brought one of Sheffield Association's finest players, George Wilson, with him to Blackburn to assist with this work. Sheffield had been playing a passing game as early as at least 1861, and Hunter taught the Olympic players how to use passing effectively. He taught the Olympic players a mixture of short passes used alongside penetrating through balls and crosses that forwards could run onto. Hunter also taught the Blackburn players how to switch the ball from wing to wing to stretch the opposition. All this, of course, with the aim of getting the ball around and through the opposition to score goals. Before the 1883 final, Hunter took his team to Blackpool for a week of preparation, an innovation unheard of at the time. All of Hunter's influence would prove to be a game-changing Sheffield to Blackburn export. Southern upper-class clubs like Old Etonians in the game's early years believed that your skill in the game was demonstrated by your dribbling prowess, not your passing and formational ability. Players playing the London FA's game and not Sheffield's game worked more as a pack, backing each other up when the man dribbling lost the ball. Hunter's approach proved more effective, and Olympic won the 1883 final by 2-1. The result is regarded by many as the biggest upset in the game's history. Hunter had shown the working class North that the upper class dominance could be beaten. He showed them how to do it. He instilled belief that the provincial towns could achieve success. Hunter had given the game to the common people. No public school upper class club ever won the FA Cup again. Crowds and interest exploded in the coming years, clubs turned professional, leagues were born, and a sport followed by the common people regularly enjoying success emerged. Hunter's Sheffield-based influence had sparked the revolution. The story of Hunter's impact needs to be told. Others with their own agenda have even recently attempted to write what he achieved out of history, to the extent that many believe the credit of starting football's working class mass revolution should be given to others. One of these others is Fergus Souter. Souter's grave is well kept and has had hundreds spent on it as a result of this recent attention on him. Nothing wrong with this, of course. Souter was a great player and fully deserves this attention. He played for Darwin and Blackburn Rovers. However, Souter never played for Blackburn Olympic and wasn't the engineer of the most important result in football history, as some would have you believe. This is Souter's grave. It's actually also in Blackburn Old Cemetery, just yards away from Hunter's. Hunter's grave is currently unmarked and on a steep, grassy and very inaccessible hillside. If you come here looking for it, I recommend extreme caution as the area is very dangerous. Hunter did later join Blackburn Rovers as a trainer and groundsman. He lived here close to Ewood Park during his final days. His address was 12 Lower Hollingbank Street. In 1903, however, he died due to contracting consumption. He was, of course, buried in Blackburn Old Cemetery. Hunter's coffin was carried by great players of his day. Sheffield's Billy Mosforth, the first working-class England player, and his Blackburn Rovers colleague previously mentioned, Fergus Souter. The final irony in Hunter's story, the FA appointed match official for the 1883 FA Cup final, Pierce Dix. The man who had driven Hunter away from Sheffield over an expenses scandal and into the arms of the grateful Olympic. Dix had to witness Hunter's triumph in person. Sometimes the truth is better than fiction. Till next time.